Wholeness Welcome. This is Josh, Inner Skilled, and today I have Helena Zupank. Hope I'm not butchering that again. And Beth Valdez. Gals, what's going on today?
Thank you for having us. Excited
Thank
to
you.
be here.
Yes.
Well,
We're very
good.
excited to be here.
So, who are you guys and what kind of work do you do?
Ooh, those are deep questions.
They can be. You could answer very existentially, very deeply, spiritually profound, or you could just say, my favorite color is or what? No,
Yeah.
however you want.
Got it. Well, we are two licensed professional counselors. We met in graduate school, became fast friends, and we just work with clients of all different types, and we use different modalities. But one of the things that we've kind of come together and we bonded over was using kind of this mix of cognitive behavioral therapy and acceptance commitment therapy, using mantras to kind of redirect thought. So it's kind of been our mission and our passion project for a long time. And we use it with our therapists. We use it together all the time. We're constantly texting one another, sending little memes and messages and new mantras. And yeah, so we want to kind of spread the word that, look, your thoughts create your truth. Let's pick thoughts that are healthy and helpful and redirect the ones that aren't.
So have you guys actually credited with creating this? I mean, this isn't usually in CBT, is it? Or these mantras? Or how did you is there a story behind the inspiration? Do you guys do mantra practice on your own? Or do you remember how it came about?
Oh boy. Yeah.
We
Helene, do you want to?
do. Sure. Yeah, I think it's great to know the backstory and help people that also might have had similar experiences and so they can relate and why we turn to mantras. So we both have different backgrounds with, of course, our own journeys. And mine included OCD, growing up with it. And didn't really know what was going on, but started making up phrases with my mom, who also had similar issues, that's OCD. That's a brain glitch when you're having these emergency thoughts and you don't have to pay attention to something to that effect. And that was the most helpful. And then I learned more about it as I grew older and I read Brain Lock and all these books that say you can change your brain chemistry by thinking differently. And I realized that was kind of what I was doing with my mantras. And I learned that there's a triangle, where you have a trigger, an obsession, a compulsion. And that's similar to a lot of people. They have a thought and then their storytelling brain picks up, right? And it keeps going. So to interrupt that cycle, cognitive reframing is part of CBT, to answer your question. Basically, it's acknowledging thoughts, what they are, kind of calling them out, saying that's OCD or that's anxiety, that's, separating it from yourself. Or we feel that having funny cues, we bring in humor a lot, really gives you that cognitive diffusion for that moment. And just remembering like, that's a bullshit thought, or like my bullshit detector is on what meter here, so things like that, like, because mantras we call them mantras for people who hate mantras. They're not traditional affirmations don't work for everyone. So we bring in songs and humor and movie quotes and kind of like neutral permission based things, which a lot of people don't think of. But bringing all these things in, a lot of times your mind just needs permission. I guess where I was going for that, like, this, I can feel anxious and still be safe or something like that. A lot of times people don't think of those challenging thoughts. So we have kind of like our own method to create them. And we bring in a lot of different types of modalities, like Beth mentioned, acceptance and commitment therapy, like what's a values-based action I could do right now, or almost like combating, seeing your mind as a separate, like you're the sky, you're not the clouds. Like you're always going to have thoughts and feelings. I'm sorry, I'm going on,
No,
but
it's great. No, it's great. My mantra here in England is left side of the road, left side of the road, left side of the road, because that's a really important one, to keep on the correct side of the road. But, it's this notion of giving self permission. It's a really interesting one too. There's a mantra of radical acceptance too. Of course, the exception being, abuse is never okay. But other than that, it's okay, and it's okay not to be okay. It was really helpful to that for me to practice that for a while. And what a huge breakthrough when I realized that wasn't my thoughts. I mean, it's like a no-brainer, pun excuse, but it's just like how much, especially maybe some of us guys and a little bit egghead, intellectual or whatever, so overly identified with cognition and thinking and realizing that, oh, wait, I'm not my thoughts. Yeah, huge. Should be more common sense. But when you're in, like, if you're a fish in a fish tank, it's kind of hard to know the water, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, these are really helpful. So, I mean, Beth, do you want to say a little bit of your personal stories? Let people
Sure.
connect with that. You don't have to say too much, but.
Sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
so somewhat similar but different with Helene. I had ADHD, and back in my day, you didn't have ADHD unless you were in the classroom bouncing off the walls, but mine more the attentive. And so my thoughts would get stuck. I would have inertia. There was lots of things, but I loved reading. And so I would constantly pull out quotes and cut out things from magazines that, cued me to get where I wanted. And one of the big changing points when Nike came out with, a slogan of moving forward, I was like, yes, because I would literally get that decision paralysis and couldn't move forward. And I thought, there's something wrong with me, clearly, but I had these little notebooks and I would tear out little things and put on my wall, and they were my cue when I would get stuck, or when I'd start thinking there's clearly something wrong with me. There'd be some deep quote or deep song meaning that I could pull from to get me out of that thought loop. And so when we were in graduate school, Helene and I were talking, and we were talking about how we love songs and how we pulled quotes. And one day she's like, "Yeah, they're mantras," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, mantras! Yes, that's perfect." And it just kind of developed, and we use sticky notes, because they're so easy and portable. But the other thing is, when we're working with clients, we would say we want the things that we're working with clients to stick. How do we make it stick when they leave the office? So we were literally writing these mantras we would come up together that was very personal. You could tell someone, hey, remember this quote, but if they come up with it, it's much more meaningful. Write on that sticky note and stick it on them as they walk out of the office. And it would just create this reinforcement of this cue that we were trying to get them moving towards to help them with healthier thoughts. So it just kind of was this beautiful coalescing of everything. And we've just been really good friends, and we've had so much fun working together and doing this. And we definitely, we support one another. We're both therapists, kind of, now today's everything's virtual. So we're each other's like, oh my gosh, how do I handle this? What do we do? We've been each other's support system. So
And
kind of
the
working through this has
clients
been fun.
come up with great mantras. I just had a session and it was very interesting. Actually, a couple joined and they're working with relationship OCD. And a lot of times he gives her reassurance seeking, or defensive, like there's nothing wrong with our relationship, or no, why would that happen? And being more of like, I think this is OCD. OCD is loud right now. Let's sit with it. And he was like, just ran with that. He's like, oh, thought about all these. He said, why don't we say, let's eat those thoughts? And then you eat them and then they digest and then they break up. And it was just like, I was like, what is going on? Like people come up with I'm like, okay, that works. It's a great way to explain with all the science and brain research that is out now, that it creates these new neural pathways. Just like if you're going on a hike and it's all grass and you started walking that way once, there would, okay, but you have to keep going that way to make a road or maybe a highway where you are going on this new path, because we always have the negative bias as humans and we'll always go to what is wrong. It's a survival skill. So teaching people about the research, Beth is amazing with research and all the great, but we found so much more behind this, which we have in our book that we ended up writing together, Sticky Note Mantras.
Think it's a really cool idea. And I'm a big list maker. I guess maybe that's a Capricorn trait. And I've even got an online notes where I've collected quotes for years. I'd be hearing a talk and just something really stuck and resonated and wrote it down, and big collector of this. And it's wisdom too, I think at the end of the day, at least other people sharing wisdom. And we kind of know, I think, when it resonates and something clicks, right? And how powerful language can be. Kind of wrote off the how powerful it can be, but it can really, what it does to me is it can shift perception, and perspective, especially when we're ripe, because how many times have I heard something and it's just like, I don't really get it.
Right.
I kind of see a wisdom in it, but I don't really get it. But then another time when I'm ready and it just clicks, it's like, it can be kind of paradigm shifting. Just that nugget of wisdom that we're ready for, that's really on target and resonates really with our heart, right? Yeah.
Now
I
the
think
aha moment.
right. I think it kind of speaks to how long the concepts that we bring up, which are kind of all the basic mental health building blocks in our book. We talk about compassion, acceptance, letting go, and letting things be. And there's so many examples that we say, like, okay, we're just going to practice letting those thoughts be. And some people are like, okay, I'm listening to the Beatles song. Like, I have a wise person coming to me saying, let it be. And that really works. And some people, like, they're like, this too shall pass, has been around forever. I'm going to use that. And then some people are like, that is not fun. And I would not even think of that. And it's not my mantra. But the same ideas that we all kind of need as humans are how we broke it down into I think we have 4 sections, like one's on acceptance or self-care and all assumptions, all those things. But they're all, they're based on ancient. This is not new. People have been talking about these concepts
Exactly.
for
It's just
years.
sometimes they might get kind of reinterpreted for the times we're in. I mean, and then I would think we would talking a little bit more on the passive side. I mean, I'm imagining there's some things for boundaries too, and that, there's things that will
Yes.
help with boundaries as well. What I like with this, affirmations something really never clicked. I mean, on Saturday Night Live years ago, we had this one character that would just
Stuart
sit in the,
Smiley.
yeah, exactly. And I just thought it
Yeah.
was so hilarious and so ridiculous, right? I was different. And then once I kind of started waking up and, being open to that, I still had something just didn't sit right with me. But because I could be lying to myself, right? I understand the idea, right? Fake it to make it, or you're training your mind to be something positive. But there's something deep in me that says, okay, that's not authentic. That's not where I am right now. That's where I want to be. So the alternative for me is an aspiration. So I can acknowledge actually how it feels and where I'm at now, and then aspire to where I can see where I want to be and where the wisdom is. And it's an aspiration, but not just a regular standard goal. It's a practice, and it's okay if I don't get there, but I can see that's something to work to and aspire to. So that way I'm not kind of fooling myself and lying to myself. At the same time, I can get the benefit that an affirmation can to
That comes
provide.
up a
Yeah.
lot. People say, do I have to believe it? And honestly, no. It's really helpful to change the language like you did. Like, I'm open to moments of, you don't have to say I am peaceful, but like, I'm open to moments of peace, or, something that changes it, but it resonates with you. So a lot of people don't
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
things like
Or
that.
even less, like maybe someday in the future I could start to consider, thinking about the values if one day I might love myself, and then it's like, okay, yeah.
Well, and that's why toxic
Start there.
positivity doesn't work, right? That fake it till you make it, because that cognitive dissonance, if I say I am happy and on the inside I am not happy, your body and mind, it doesn't feel good at all. And so, yeah, it's that little shift exactly. Like if I'm not feeling happy, but maybe I want to work towards feeling more at peace. Like really, we're saying
Exactly.
kind of the same idea, but those
Yes.
words have meaning. They do have a lot of power, and that's, again, letting clients come up with their own is so powerful because it's their words, it holds meaning, it has some significance in their life. And so it kind of stays a little bit, where those affirmations so big and meaty and weighty, you're like, how I can't even remember that.
Well, that's right. Yeah, then that really helps. I mean, I'm a parrot sometimes. I draw on other people's wisdom that I really respect and admire, and it's hard. You got to give them credit for it. But like even this notion of, and I have compassion for the times when I can't have compassion. I really like that one because that gets us off the hook, in a sense, in a way,
Well,
because
there's,
sometimes it's not really available.
yeah, there's a lot of
But it
research that
is
says,
in a way, kind of
yes,
conversely, yeah. So
You can
it's just
reframe it,
learning
so
to
right,
use
so
it.
even if you're not feeling it, you can say, well, this is something we can work towards. And even like in the self-compassion area, a lot of times, we have that harsh inner critic that most of us have practiced, but we can easily kind of say, well, I'm not at my best right now, and that's okay. I can recognizing that I'm sick, or I didn't get enough sleep, and so that makes sense. But I can work on improving that and understanding that when I'm not at my best,
Or,
this is something I can learn from. Yeah.
yeah, or using Don Miguel Ruiz's just do your best, I think is one of his 4 agreements. No more, no less, and your best is always changing. I have a lot of people that like that one.
yeah, and it's the reminds me of we're already doing the best we can. We're all doing the best we can.
Yes.
If we could do better, we would. So it's kind of like
Meeting
yeah,
yourself where you're
yeah,
at.
Assuming
yeah,
positive
exactly.
intent of us, right? Instead of
Yeah.
assuming negative intent, like, oh, they're just not trying, we want to assume
Yeah.
positive, like they're probably giving it their best, but maybe they don't have all the tools they need. Yeah, it's really kind of that reframe.
Yeah, it's I find it more helpful. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the honesty though, to me, and authenticity is really important, and that's a practice for some people, even being honest with themselves. It's a practice, but that's where it's all at, because it's yeah, I mean, it really is foundational, because yeah, it just doesn't vibe with
I
me
would
or
love
work
to
with me.
share some of Beth's awesome mantras that you've made up. I really love, like, this is my now and not my forever. So many people accept more when they're like, yeah, this is my now, but I can work towards something. That I love that mantra. Like, when you made this is awesome. And people make up spicy. I just had someone that made up, this is bullshit, but it's survivable. So, like, actually calling it out. Yeah, she is in a really hard situation and it is bullshit, but she can't change that. She can change herself. She's going to work on her survival skills. I think it's really interesting giving your
Yeah.
mind for
Yeah.
people
Well,
made
I
up. Do
mean,
you share some of yours?
Oh, I was thinking of what we focus on, we find. It's part, and that's part of brain spotting, which is a trauma treatment. But and I think that's why words, they create our truth. And if we focus on creating a mantra like this is where I want to go, versus this is maybe not what I want to go. And the perfect reframe on one of these things that people say a lot is I hate people. I just hate people. I need to be. But the reframe of that is people are going to people. People are going to do what people are going to do. And that puts us in a different frame. When I say I hate people, that gets me activated feeling. When I say people are going to people, I'm learning to let go of that. I can't control all these people. They're going to do what they're going to do. And so just those words can create, the different chain reaction. And I'm focusing on what I want to find. And so these mantras cue us
yeah.
into, well, this is where I want to go. I don't want to live in this negativity and say, I hate all people. What I want to do is kind of reframe that and say, well, yeah, people are going to people.
I
That's
love that one.
right. The finding, or basically, what did you say? The finding,
What
What
focus
we
on
you
what you
focus on, we
focus on.
find.
find.
Yeah.
We
That's
wrote
kind
a
of like
blog on
either
that. Yeah.
self-fulfilling prophecy, or like what is it, selection
Manifest.
bias, or what is it, like
Yeah.
or confirmation bias, right? So like
Right.
the more we focus on something, the more proof we'll find of it too.
And
Oh
looking
yeah.
at what you already have, you are happier. And
Yeah.
nothing has changed. So it's exactly what Beth did. Like, oh, I'm looking on what I could do. And, what I am grateful for can go into that as well. There's a lot of grateful mantras that we
Sure.
have too, but sometimes the idea can follow into another mantra. Like, people, I can control what I control. And I'm grateful that I have choices, things like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. The can't be in conflict with something we're grateful for either, Same way if we're serving something or celebrating something, it's going to be hard to be in conflict with it. And the other thing you said earlier, this is my now, not my forever. And that is really, I love that, because it points to this, one of these characteristics of existence is three characteristics of existence in Buddhism. And it's impermanence, stress, and not self. So, but the impermanence meaning, this too shall pass, that's the common one, but that's kind of what that points to. But how many times have we been in something and we just kind of almost jump to the conclusion, oh, it seems like it's going to last forever, right? It's just kind of this false assumption. We don't, when or at least I'll just speak from, when I'm caught up in something, sometimes it doesn't seem like it's ever going to end, right? But yeah, so it's help, and so just taking that kind of reminder that no, this
Right.
is impermanent. It's arisen. It's going to pass. That's just the nature of reality.
A lot of times we use, as Beth mentioned, acceptance and commitment therapy, which has a visual mantra that's very helpful for that. And that's really big on visual mantras. But it's just imagining yourself in the ocean and having waves crash over you. It's called earth surfing. And imagining those waves as thoughts and feelings. And if you're down in them, there's always another one. There's always going to be another one. That's life. And they can drag you down and you can go under the wave and get tumbled. Or, we can shift that and then we can focus on being on a boogie board or a surfboard on top and just riding out these waves and still using those values-based actions, because it's not about feeling good. That's what ACT says. It's about living a life that's meaningful. So continually choosing. So I know Beth has a lot of visual mantras too. But that's,
You call that urge surfing? Is that what you called it?
yes, it's called urge
Yeah, oh, that's
surfing. It's
great. Wow.
practice.
Okay.
Riding the wave of our feelings, all those things. Yeah, and one of the other things we kind of this why we started kind of this became a big part of our passion project is, and a lot of people don't talk about it, is that our brain makes up stuff all the time. It literally lies to us, coming from our midbrain, our past experiences. So it could say like, our negative, you're not good enough to be in this room. That's our brain came up with this. There's no truth in it, but it lies
It
to us
has
all the
no
time.
shame either.
Has no shame. Yeah. But no one tells you you don't have to believe your thoughts.
Yeah.
We're like, trust yourself, trust your instincts. No, 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 no. Your brain, question your thoughts. You should be like, don't just let them run amok. Let's kind of keep them in charge. And I that's what I feel like mantras is helpful for, is we always talk about, we have to have awareness first, right? We got to check in with those thoughts. What is going on? And then, okay, what do I need to redirect? And what do I need to redirect those? And we really encourage clients to check in every day. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? Let's check in with the body, because the body and brain are one. And what do I need? What do I need today to get into the space that I want to be? And mantras are a beautiful, just kind of catalyst, reminder, all those things to get us where we want to be. We love songs. Songs are probably one of the, we have playlists.
Yes.
Do I need to get moving? Is it a rainy day and I feel, blue? Let's throw on that playlist. Let's get some words and kind of getting those thoughts unstuck and moving through.
And
Time to get those
yeah,
out.
everybody knows that they feel better if they put their favorite song on and it has messages that we resonate with. Or there's so many ones that, gosh, songs are just so powerful. I'm sure you have songs that are powerful to you, but I love like Carry On by Fun. That's a good one. Or Float On by Modest Mouse. Those always I think I listen to them on my walk and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened and I'm going to float on, and that happened and I'm going to float on. And then Float On became one of my mantras because of that song. So it's just, it's so, everyone likes different. I like country, someone doesn't like, but very powerful. We have playlists in the back.
Yeah, it was with the right kind of music, though, right? Because some people have a bad habit of getting really down and then putting on even
Toxic
more,
music.
Yes.
depressing music, and then it just amplifies it. But yeah,
Yes.
these uplifting things that feel authentic and we resonate with, and that are a good mood booster.
Mood booster. Mix it up.
Yeah. So, these are great, guys. So. Like, do you have any more plans to, I don't know, gather more from more people? Are you constantly writing more down, or
Yeah.
Yes,
sharing
all the
them in
above.
other news ways, or
When you said a parent, like I have a whole thing of parent mantras because I used to teach little kids, and it really helps because the kids get flustered in the moment and then the parents don't know what to do. And they're like, oh, you're okay. You're okay. And it's like, well, maybe we could shift that instead of saying you're okay and just let them, you're angry, or name it and just take a deep breath. Anyway, so I would love to do a sticky note mantras for parents, because we had so many, right, Beth, when we would share with each other.
So many, yes.
But
probably not enough time.
but we would have so many
Cool.
different topics. And
I've heard this. Cool. I've heard this notion with children, and I guess it is adults too, that the unconscious mind doesn't know the don't or the negative part of it.
Correct.
So instead of saying to kids, don't run, they just kind of hear the run. But if you want to tell them what they want to do, like slow down, use kind of like what you actually want to happen instead of the negative thing.
Right. Yeah, that comes from performance psychology. So when they say, someone, in sports, it's like, don't miss the shot. Don't say that because your brain's hearing miss the shot. What you want to say is make the shot, right? And the same goes for us, is don't be angry. What you want to say is feel calm. It's still that reframing, because those words, again, have power, but our brain does kind of cut out that don't, won't, shouldn't, and it doesn't stick as well.
What you focus on, you will find.
Yeah, people will come up with mantras like, I don't want to feel sad. I'm like, okay, well, let's reframe it. We want to but just having them work through that process, it still makes it more powerful because they're taking ownership and it's coming from them organically. So yeah, it's a really great process.
So do you guys ever have clients that just do not want to be there, and they just downgrade everything and say, quit with these Jedi mind tricks, this is brainwashing crap. I mean, let's just stop this already. This is ridiculous. What about the naysayers? How do you deal with them?
The poo-poo platters. That's why they're ordering
Oh,
from the
yeah.
poo-poo platter. Everything's poo-poo. We just work with them. We always meet them where they're at, right? So if they're feeling okay, I understand that, this doesn't, well, what sounds like it might be helpful to you? What do you think? We keep kind of trying to pull them in. Sometimes it takes time and a lot of patience. And this is where, we kind of sit back but in the end, most people, if they're at least want to try to gain something, and if you can get them over that hump and you build that therapeutic alliance, they're along for the ride. But yeah, some are just tough cookies. And, I work with a lot of men where if you say, well, right now I'm feeling a little sad, they're not going for that. So I say, okay, well, let's pull in some humor to, to express your, how you're feeling, but in a way that resonates with you. Like I'm not, whatever it is, like I'm feeling a little crazy today, whatever that is. But yeah, you just have to kind of tweak and work with and meet the client where they're at. And sometimes that can be fun and rewarding. And I learned so much. And sometimes I'm like, whew, we had to work hard to get there.
Like pulling teeth or something, maybe.
Definitely.
Sometimes,
I
yeah.
think getting in that repetition, like actually crafting something, because a lot of people just, you need the same message like 400 times before, and then you're like, okay, now my brain's more open to it, and I've been looking at, and then you create a new one because it doesn't really last. I don't know. Some of them I've had,
right?
Yeah, I've
It's
had
a good
some
point.
forever.
There's certain times in life where they're really effective, and other times where we either gone beyond them or they kind of fall flat, or something's taken their place. I think too.
Yeah.
Do you I sometimes I have a bad habit, and I think I'm getting better about this. It's just going around dishing out unsolicited wisdom. Like, how do you build rapport with clients too? Or will you ever sitting there and you have like a list of sticky notes in your mind, like, oh, this would really help them. This one, and this one. And then, how do you go about, you don't just throw them out there, right? You just kind of, how do you work with that, I guess?
So nobody likes to be told what to do. So if you tell them you need this mantra, they're like in one ear and out the other. I worked as a high school counselor for many years working with teenagers. So I got steeped in this. So we talk about it. We introduce the concept. If it goes to the poo-poo platter, we redirect and go. But I'll always kind of bring it back and think, maybe next time this is something. But
keep reaching out your hand. That's one of my mantras.
My family will tell you I give them unsolicited therapeutic advice frequently. However, I feel like I've earned that.
I had one guest recently tell me that, I can get, in years of therapy, I can just get in 5 minutes from my mom telling me everything that's wrong with me.
It's funny because I actually told my husband a mantra that I made up for this year, because it was one of my things I was going to move forward and try is listening more, because I feel like I have a lot of things I want to say, like, oh, this is what this is, this and this, but really making sure that it's because it really is just relevant to the person, right? We're all starring in our own movie. It's their own life. And when I bring things in, it really has to be relevant.
Or I get, sometimes my girlfriend will get on me from depersonalizing thing. I'm put on my teacher hat, right? And I'm speaking in generalities and not about her and me. And then, that's not good. That's not usually good either. So put on my philosopher hat and so.
I find some mantras that just promote authenticity might be helpful for you.
Well, totally. It's that I think, the mantras, but just, I mean, just using a cuss word from time to time kind of shows that they're authentic. But then if you have a dad that's a sailor, and it's a little bit different where it's kind of hard to go the other way and to get him to stop swearing sometimes. But no, that's what did Ram Dass say? I think you have any kind of spiritual attainment, just go spend some time with your family. It's tough, that's where the rubber hits the road for sure. I've even had monks tell me too. They said, "Oh, we get a monk that's think that they're doing really good and think they're getting above everybody else. We usually send them home to be with their family for a little while." I think that was great.
So funny
stuff. Yes, absolutely. Well, guys, I think this is a good place to maybe start wrapping up. Why don't you tell people how they can? You have a book, right? This is in a book, right? And what else do you have? What other offerings do you have, if you have any? And then how can people get in touch with you? I mean, do you have extra space in your client load if people want to work with you individually? I'm guessing you don't work with clients together, or, I don't think I don't know how this stuff works, but yeah. And then anything else you want to draw people's attention to? And how about a final message then?
Well,
Sure.
this is our book. We wrote Sticky Note Mantras, The Art and Science of Choosing Your Thoughts. We have a website, so you can, and we're all over all the social media. So stickynotemantras.com. We put out a blog, a newsletter is coming, and we give talks and we present at schools and things like that. So you can always reach out to us anytime.
You guys are in Arizona. I don't think we said that publicly. So people in Arizona, especially, right?
Yes.
Yes, big one.
Huge. We have a lot of mantra merchandise that we don't have on our website offered there. Just fun little mantras and different things to remember the mantras. But yeah, so I think and we both offer therapy. I accept insurance. You can book on our website, stickynotemantras.com, or search us on ZocDoc, things like that.
Very cool. Well, thanks, gals, for joining.
Thanks.
And this has been fun. And hopefully I won't fill my entire computer screen with sticky notes now, but I mean, I guess it wouldn't be all that bad.
We hope you do.
Bad joke here. So, all right. May all beings come to find their most optimal wisdom for their own benefit and for the benefit of everyone around them, and maybe for all beings everywhere. May all beings everywhere realize awakening and be free. Bye, everybody.